Hello and welcome to Prototech's Mastercam 2026 Rollout. My name is Eric, a member of the support team at Prototech, and in this video series we'll be taking a look at the new enhancements found in Mastercam 2026. If you have not yet installed Mastercam 2026, make sure to check out our website, where we have a PDF and video available for our Mastercam 2026 install and update guide. Prototech's Mastercam 2026 rollout will be broken into 4 sections. In this video, we'll take a look at Section 1, General and Interface Enhancements. Here's a list of the topics we'll take a look at in this video. Let's start with the Levels Manager. The Levels Manager has been completely redesigned for Mastercam 2026. It is now in a tree-style dialog and gains a bunch of search and organizational tools. Let's take a look in Mastercam. Here is the new Levels Manager in Mastercam 2026. I still have my level number. My active level is still defined with a green check. I set an active level by clicking on the icon in front of the number. The visibility is now this eyeball icon. This means level's visible, and I can click here to turn off those clamps. My right click menu is still very similar. There's some new group functions in there. And I have these 3 dots, which is the same as going into my right click menu. I still have my contrast rows, which can be handy in identifying which line goes where. And I have this new grouping function and search functions. Maybe I want to search containment. And now I could shift click to grab these, right click, and say group. And then I could rename the group. I'm going to clear my search, and we can take a look at the new filtering function. For instance, maybe I just want to clear my filter and look at the ungrouped levels, the items that I have not yet organized. This could be handy when dealing with large complex files. Next to filter, I have a sort function where I can arrange my list. For sorting, I can also drag levels in and out of groups. For instance, I could take this right stock and drag it out. I'm going to drag my right stock back to the group. Notice the black insert line. That'll indicate where it's going to be added to the group or outside of the group. Another neat feature in the new interface is I still get an entity count for the entire level, but I can expand that and I can see entity counts for individual different types of geometry. And with this, I could right click on, for instance, the line entities and say select, and select all the lines on that level. We hope you enjoy all these new interface enhancements for levels. This should definitely make dealing with larger complex files, organizing them, much easier. Mastercam 2026 also adds a new config option for levels in the selection topic of the config. You can now auto highlight entities on a level just by clicking on that level. It does display the same as selection, but the entities are not selection, so this may be an option you want to turn on as needed if you're trying to find a component of a large assembly. The next topic we'll take a look at is the Planes Manager also sees a new interface in Mastercam 2026. As we look at it, it looks very similar to the Levels Manager. Let's take a look in Mastercam. In the new Planes Manager for 2026, you'll notice many familiar items from the old Plane Manager, plus many of the new items we just took a look at in the new Levels Manager. I have a sort function, a filter function, a search function. I have grouping. I can shift click to select all these and group them. Name the group if I'd like. And I still can click to set my current active WCS C and T plane. I have many of the same options and rules that I've had in previous versions. Display choices, section views. I get the new eyeball if I want the plane displayed or not, combined with my show function I can also access my right click, many of the similar features we just took a look at. Expand and collapse the groups for organization. Also new in 2026 is I get a new planes overlay on the main screen. It's just another way to interface and see what's active and make edits to my planes. Very similar to the options I have down on the bottom of my screen. There's also new config options. This is kind of a neat one. You can now set your default plane. We used to have a template file to have anything other than automatic planes defaulted. So for instance, if I'm running an Akuma and I want to start with H1 as my offset, I can start with manual 1. There's also a new config option for my new plane overlay on the screen tab to whether or not that's displayed. Another cool enhancement in Mastercam 2026 is it offers an early adapter Copilot add-in. This is not part of the default install for Mastercam 2026. You'll have to go to mymastercam.com, log in with a linked account, and then you can download and run the early adopter Copilot release. That will add a Copilot ribbon to your interface, which you can then use your linked mastercam.com account to log in to the Copilot function. Once logged in, you now have access to your Mastercam Copilot. The new Copilot function has two basic tools. I can use it to respond like help, or I can use it to interact with Mastercam and launch functions. If I'm on automatic mode, it can do both of those functions and it tries to decide which one is the best answer. So for instance, I could ask it a question. What is lead in and lead out? For this question, it responds with a bunch of information similar to what's found in the help menus. It is not exactly the same, and it gives me links to more information. I can also use it to start up commands. And I can use voice to text. Create line. It launches right into the function. I cannot interact in the function at this time. I can only launch the function. Be sure to go out and check out this great new addition to Mastercam 2026. Mastercam 2026 offers a new Verify selection. This does replace the old Verify selection in the Auto Cursor ribbon bar. Let's take a look in Mastercam. This assembly file has many components and many entities. If I hover over a component, you can see the icon changes and it gives me a list. There are 3 different items behind that pick. This one has 9. If I right click, I can see the different components and cycle through them, and they highlight as I click on them. I can click on different components to view them. I can scroll my mouse wheel to cycle through the components. I can also use the arrow keys on my keyboard. I'm going to choose this item here that's on level 400. That selects that geometry. Now I could use the shortcut Alt-E for my hide function to isolate that geometry. I also have some new ways of selecting things. Maybe I want to delete. I now have a new option and can freehand select. Drawing lines through entities, whatever it crosses through selects. You may be familiar with a similar selection method in dynamic trim. There's also some new cursor icons. I'm going to Alt-E to bring all my entities back. I'm also going to turn visibility on for all my levels. And if I hover over this arc, I see I now have an arc next to my cursor, indicating that I'm hovering over an arc or a solid or a surface. I get different icons for the various entities, helping me identify what I'm about to select. There's also some new config settings for the Verify selection. I can choose if I hide or dim entities when I'm using the tool, how much delay there is, and how big the entity list size is. and whether or not the function is active. Over the last few years, we have seen many enhancements to the mill machine group setup. In Mastercam 2026, we now get an enhanced display. You can see in 2025 we just saw Files, Tools, Settings, Stock Setup. In 26 we get to see and have direct access to every tab. They've also made enhancements to the way that long file paths are displayed to make it easier to see which files in use. They've also made some changes to the work holding. Let's take a look in Mastercam. Here I see the expand list, and now I can go directly into work holding. I'm going to turn on fixtures, and I can add a group. I can pre-make groups. And you're going to notice the grouping and the sorting is very similar to what we see in the new Levels and Planes Manager. I can select geometry right from the window, as I could before. If the solid had a name, it'll use that name. I can add it to my group. If I select from a level, it will use that level name, and if the levels had groups, it will use the groupings as defined in the levels. The right-click menu has also been cleaned up a bit, and I can make an active fixture through the right-click or by checking the boxes. The Solid Hole tool sees enhancements in Mastercam 2026. Let's take a look in Mastercam. On the Solids menu, I'm going to run the Hole tool. I'll name my feature. If I have more than one solid model, I'll have to select my target. I'll add positions of the hole. The Hole wizard is now organized into 3 tabs. We also now get a depth and diameter preview on the screen. The Hole wizard now comes with several pre-installed libraries. We can also create custom libraries. The custom libraries can be shared between users. They are found in an XML file in your shared Mastercam 2026 folder. As I make changes to the hole, the preview updates as well. I can save this customization into my library. There is also an Advanced tab. On this page, we get a new option to display threaded holes as green in Mastercam. Mastercam 2026 has added several enhancements to the Surface Loft command. These include automatic alignment of chain directions, surface tangent matching start and end, and guide curves and updates to dynamic syncing. Let's take a look in Mastercam. I'm going to create a new Loft surface. The order I click the chains is important, but the direction and the start points are no longer as important. Here's the new option. Make sure align chain directions consistently is on, and it creates a lofted surface. There's another new option here, match surface tangency at first and last chains. You can see that blends, adds fillet type features at the first and last chain of the loft. Next, we can explore the updated dynamic sync options. The options we originally had have been reorganized. Average is changed to planar slice to better reflect what it does and only applies to closed chains. And we've added a new one called equal arc length, and it's the new default method. I can see the differences in the preview. Last, let's explore guide curves. The addition of dynamic sync a few releases ago helped, but it didn't solve all the scenarios. Guide curves guides the flow across the chains. The guide curves don't have to intersect with the loft chains, they just need to be close by. The loft surface does not interpolate the guide curves, so they do not influence the shape of the surface except for that which will result from the improved flow. Notice how the vertical flow lines have a slant to them. Let's add a couple guide curves to this surface. The surface now has a more vertical type flow. Mastercam 2026 also adds solid selection enhancements. Several functions, including fillet in Mastercam 2025 and earlier, would launch a pop-up dialog for selecting the solid features. New in 2026, we just use the auto cursor ribbon bar to control what we're selecting in the solid. A new function we recently saw, Analyze Deviation, now supports mesh entities in Mastercam 2026. I can now use the deviation analyze, and one of my selections can be a mesh face. There's also a few simulation enhancements in Mastercam 2026. In the move info, there's a new operation info section that gives you some information about your operation. There's also now a fast and slow button added to the play ribbon bar that increases and decreases the speed by 10%. And there's a new graphics option to display material texture, similar to the material options in the standard Mastercam window. This concludes our general and interface section of Prototech's Mastercam 2026 rollouts. We hope you enjoyed this presentation, and make sure to check out the other 3 videos in this series and all the other videos on our YouTube channel.